Hey girls, it's Mrs. Forbes. Today is Thursday, April 30th, and this is our lesson 4 module or mission 6, lesson 5. And our I can statement, I can model the equivalence of tenths and hundredths using the area model and number disks. So if you look at my diagram here, it's broken into tenths. And I'm going to shade 1/10. If you look at this diagram, this one is broken into hundredths. And I'm going to shade the same amount of space that I did in my first diagram. So I'm showing, just like we did with our fraction bars, I'm showing that 1/10 is the same as 10 hundredths. Now I'm going to basically go the opposite way. And over here, I'm going to shade in 40 hundredths. Each column has 10 small parts. Each column has 10 hundredths. So 10, 20, 30, 40. I'm going to shade in the same amount of space in my next diagram. Now, it's the same amount of space. However, instead of 40 small hundredths pieces, I have 4/10. So we just showed in those tape diagrams how 1/10 was equal to 10 hundredths. And basically what was done is that 1/10 was just decomposed into smaller pieces. We've done this before. But then we also went the opposite way. 40 hundredths, and we put those tens together, or hundredths together, and put them into 4 groups of 10. 1 times 10 is 10. 10 times 10 is 100. 40 divided by 10 is 4. 100 divided by 10 is 10. This example, we went from a bigger piece to smaller pieces taking this up the same amount of space. In this example, we went from smaller pieces to bigger pieces, but taking up the same amount of space. I like to think of tenths as dimes, money. Hundredths as pennies. 1 dime is worth 10 pennies. 40 pennies is worth 4 dimes. So now I have an example with 37 hundredths, and I want to see how many tenths and how many hundredths I can break it into. So if I look at my diagram here, I learned that 1/10 is equal to 10 hundredths. So I know that that's 10 smaller pieces if I want, 20, 30. But then I also have an extra 7. So it wouldn't be this whole bar, it would be about that, and that's 37 hundredths. So I have 3/10, 1, 2, and 3. And then a little bit extra I have is the 7 hundredths. So in that other tape, the tape diagram we just saw, we modeled 37 hundredths. And we know that 1/10 is 10 hundredths. So we saw in that tape diagram that we had 3/10, 3 full columns, and then an extra 7 hundredths. So that means my decimal is going to be 0.37, also read as 37 hundredths. Here, I have 2 hundredths. I don't have any tenths, but I have 2 hundredths. So that means my decimal is going to be 0.02. The 2 is in the hundredths place. Like I said, comparing it to those pennies. Next, I have 72 hundredths. Well, 70 hundredths is the same as having 7/10, 7 of those full columns. And then I still have an extra 2 hundredths. So my decimal is 0.72 or 0 and 72 hundredths. Let's try 2 more examples. This time, we're going to start with the decimal and we will write the fraction. So let's say I have this. Well, I have 5/10 and I have 1/100th. Well, altogether, that's 51 hundredths. Or if we were thinking of money, that's 51 cents, maybe 51 pennies. Let's look at this one. Here I have 0/10. Here I have 4 hundredths. So that leaves me with 4 100ths. So now, since you're done with this video, you're going to go ahead and do your problem set for lesson 5, which you'll notice those examples are modeled after the ones that we have done here. So do a great job. Bye.